previously you had the baby boomer generation, which had the most wealth that they had to throw around, and they were also the largest generation. So they basically set the tone for investing for not just their generation, but maybe 3, maybe 4 generations. They were larger than the generations that preceded them, the generations that came before. They were larger than the generation after them, Gen X. And the baby boomers now, sadly, that are passing away, have just dipped below the size of the millennial generation, which is their children. So that's 3, 4 generations that they've been calling the shots in the investment market with how much money and the size of their generation. The interesting thing about baby boomers is they started naming sectors, what they were looking at, what was being branded and marketed to. The equity sector and bonds is considered traditional investing by the baby boomers. That's the titles they used. Things like real estate and everything else was considered alternatives. The reality is that even the naming of those sectors is changing today. The millennial generation, the biggest generation we've ever had in history, stands to inherit probably the majority of the baby boomer wealth, and also is moving a lot of markets on that side, for better or for worse, depending on your views. The millennial generation thinks significantly more positively about real estate. If we want to quantify that, millennials believe that over 3 times more percent of their portfolios should be going to real estate. So if millennials inherit 60 trillion of the 72 trillion net worth of the baby boomers, and that 60 trillion goes into the millennials, we're expecting that about 30 trillion of that should be going into the real estate markets. That's 3x what the baby boomer generation did previously. 3x is already big, but when you quantify that with 30 trillion, I think the future is the real estate market in a really big way. I think there's a lot of innovation ahead for real estate as these significant amounts of capital are getting injected into the real estate markets. I think it's very bright. I think as the country grows, manufacturing grows, housing is in a crisis, meaning there's an opportunity to produce more options. These are huge, huge, huge beneficial opportunities, not just for investors, but also for the country and the economy as a whole. Cheaper housing, cheaper goods and services produced stateside. I think there's big opportunities ahead, not just for the real estate investors, but for the industries and the lives that are impacted by it.